Okay, welcome back. Today we are going to continue from where we left last time. We were talking about algebraic expressions and change of subject to formula. But last time we were talking about multiplying brackets, and today we're going to talk about factorizing of algebraic expressions. So without wasting time, let's dive right in. So when you talk about to factorize algebraic expression is like just to introduce brackets and the state and expression as a product of the vectors. But this is not an English lesson, of course. Let's dive right in and learn what we do. So first we start with an easy example. Let's say that we have an expression 5y squared minus 10y. We want to factorize this. So what we do, we find a common factor. I think you remember we talked about common factors before. Factor. So we find a common factor for this expression. Like if it's been a common factor, it means a number that can divide into each of these terms without leaving a remainder. So in this case, we start with the real number. We have 5 here. 5 can divide into 5. 5 can divide into 10. So let's take 5. And then for letters, we have y. We can divide y into y and y into y squared and y into y. So then we have 5y. So then when we have this, we divide this common factor with each term. So we say 5y into 5y squared. We get y minus 5y into 10y, we get 2. So it's as easy as that. Now this is our answer. And we don't have anything else to do with this. So that's it for the first one. And that's why I say it was an easy example. But let's say we have another one, but now it's like this 2 minus 16. And you just think in your mind like what we did before, we can do that. Okay, let's try to do that. Let's look for common factors. Oh, wait, we don't have common factors. But this expression is kind of familiar if we rewrite it like this. Look, like this. Now, you remember this from last lesson. We talked about difference of two squares. So if you remember when we talked about difference of two squares, if you don't know that, you can go and check the last video we did. But okay, let's do that very quick. We said when we have an equation like a plus b and a minus b, this is called a difference of two squares. So what you do is you just say the answer here will be a squared minus b squared. This is a difference of two squares. So now, if you now look at this and this, you can see that now we have this here. So for us factorize this, we just want to come back to this one here. So how do we do that? We just do the same thing we did. We try to have the same thing we have here. So a plus b, but b is 4. And the next one is a minus b, of which here b is 4. And now we have it vectorized. And if you try to expand this, you will see it will come back straight to this one. Okay, so now if you look what we are doing here is first we have to look if we have common factors like what we did on the first example. And then if we cannot find common factors, we can see if we have different of two squares. And if we have different of two squares, we can solve it like this. But anyway, let's try another example. Let's say we have 5a squared minus 45b squared. So in this case, we can check if we have common factors first. So here we have a common factor 5 and 5. So we take 5 out here. And then we say 5 into 5a squared. Here we just have a squared minus 5 into 45. This is 9. And we have 45b squared. So here we just have b squared. And then we are done, but we are not done yet, because now if you look at what's inside the brackets, it's a different of two squares. So now, because now here we have different of two squares, this one and this one, we will expand it more. So when we have different of two squares, okay, so this one here is 3 squared. Okay, so if we have different of two squares, we just do like what we did. We say a minus 3b, because we have 3 squared here. That's where we get the 3. 3b and a plus 3b. And now we have our answer, which is 5 in brackets a minus 3b in brackets a plus 3b. And now this is our final answer. Okay, so now you can see that even after we finish factorizing 5 out, we can still continue to factorize until we get to its simplest form, once we cannot factorize it anymore. So that is simple. So factorizing with two numbers is simple. But I think everything, factorization is simple. And even if we have four numbers, like now, let's say we have 2x squared plus xy minus xy minus y squared, and we want to factorize this. So the first thing you do when you are factorizing numbers, an expression with four numbers, you look at the first two terms, and then you look at the last two terms and see if they have common factors. So just look for common factors in this and common factors in this. So now let's do that. So this is easy because we just talked about it before. So here the common factor for this is x. So we take out x, and then x into x squared is x, x into xy is like this. And then here we will continue with this one, and here our common factor is y. So let's take out minus y, and I'll tell you why I take minus y out. Okay, let's take minus y, and minus y into this is x, and minus y into minus y squared is y. And now if we look here, we have the same expressions inside the brackets. So if we have the same expressions, we can further uh, deal with this, like we take x, which is this x, minus y, which is this minus y, and x plus y. And now we have our vectors here. And I told you, I'll tell you why I put out minus y. Because I already did the calculation in my mind, and my aim was to make sure that what's inside the brackets is the same. So if I left this y in this minus inside, this and this were going to be different, and it was going to be difficult for us to get to this answer. So you can do that when you are doing this factorization, so that you can make sure that you can get your answer easily. And here, if you look at something, now here we have x minus y and x plus y, and some will be asking, But this expression means we have a difference of two squares. And yes, if you look close to this here, we have a difference of two squares. This and this, if we deal with this one, if we solve this, we will get a zero, which will leave us x squared minus y squared, which is the difference of two squares, and that's why we get this answer. Okay, so that's it for when we have four, four, four terms. Okay, let's have another one. Let's say we have xy plus by minus ay and minus bx. This is our expression. And we want to factorize this. Like what we talked about before, we look at the first term to find the factors. If you look at this one, we don't have any factors. So what do? We look on the whole equation and see if we have factors on the where the first term is any factor from any of these terms, and we rearrange the expression to suit our need. So our need is we want to find factors. So here we have ax, so we look for a. Here we have a, so we will have ax minus ay, and then we have this one plus b y minus bx. Those are now we have factors here and we have factors here. Oh, what we can do is we can say ax, here we have x, and this is x minus bx here, and then plus by minus ay, like this. So now let's start with this one. So we here our common factor is a. So take out a, and then a into ax, we have x. A into a minus ay is minus y. Then we come to this one. So for this one, here you can see we have a minus here. So we want this one to have a subtraction sign. So we will take out minus b, which will give us if, oh, sorry, minus b like this. Okay, minus b into here we have minus y, minus b into this one we have plus x. And now this will lead us to, and if you look now, this and this are the same, even though they are not arranged in the same, because see, if we have x here, x plus x minus y here, and if minus y plus x is the same. So now we say a minus b and x minus y. And now it's factorized. Okay, we can try this again. So here now our vector is x. So we take out x, and x into here we have a minus b, because x into this one is minus b. And then here we want minus on b, so we take out minus y, because y is the vector. And then here we have minus b plus a. And then if we solve it more, we have x minus y and a minus b. And you can see that our answers are the same, even though we use different vectors. So that's it. You can rearrange, and you can have it the way that you can solve it, and you can come out to an answer. Okay, so um, when we talk about this, you see, um, this we will see, we will need to use this more and more. So it's important that you learn factorization and you learn it very fast and you understand it so that you can be able to factorize. And like what you say, I did some calculations in my head already before I write the answers on here, so that you can come to factorize your your expression very easy. So that's important. So you have to practice more on factorization so that in the future all the algebraic expressions or will not be difficult for you. Okay, but anyway, now now that we know this, uh, before we let this go and give you homework, now what we want to do is we have something that we talked about, and we can discuss this more. So we talked about a difference of two squares. Diff This is different of two squares. A difference of two squares, and which is a squared plus, oh sorry, plus a squared maybe minus b squared. And we said, how do we solve this? Say a minus b and oh sorry, a plus b here. And this is our answer. But this is very powerful because let's say we have an example. We have 135, 135 squared minus 35 squared. Yeah, because maybe you might think that this just work with the letters, but even with numbers like this. So what we do is we use this to solve this number here. So uh we will say 35, 35. Oh, sorry, it's a 135 squared minus 35. And here we can have, oh no, now we don't have squared here. And we have 135 plus 35. And then this one will give us 100 and multiply, because if we don't have a sign here, it means we are multiplying, and this one will give us 170, and then this will give us 17,000. And now we just solve a problem easily without a calculator. So you can say if you are trying to solve this without a calculator, it will be very difficult. But now, because we have the superpower or the ability to use the difference of two squares, it makes it easy to do this kind of problems without a calculator. So it's very useful if you can master it very well. But for today, we can stop here, and um, later, if you want to do more practice, you can practice this. This one is factorization. You can factorize. You can see the first one, if we just have two terms, and then here we have four terms. But all of them, you just do the same things we did before in this video, and then a bonus, you can also try to do this. This one is to simplify without a calculator or a table. You just try to use the difference of two squares to get to an answer. And I think for today we will stop there. If you have any questions, you ask in the comment section. I'll be there to answer all your questions. Okay, thank you. Bye bye, and good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you are.